welcome. It's Shelly again, and today we have another sew along for you. Today we're going to be doing our ribbed turtleneck, which is a very easy sew. It has different options for the sleeves. You can choose cuffs or you can choose a hemmed finish, and then the bodice is always hemmed. It sews together in less than 10 minutes. So let's get sewing.
For this project, you'll need 2 sleeves, a front bodice, and a back bodice, and the turtleneck cuff. That's it, just 5 pieces to cut. Let's get started. First, we'll sew our shoulder seam, so we'll lay our front and back bodice down with right sides together and then match up and clip the shoulders. Then we'll sew across the shoulders with a serger or a zigzag stitch on our sewing machine. Now that we've closed the seams on our shoulders, we're going to attach the sleeves. We'll just lay the bodice out with the right side up and then match the notch at the center of the sleeve to the shoulder seam like so. Then we'll match up the ends of the sleeves, and then you can add as many clips as you like to hold it in place. Now repeat that same process for the second side, making sure you have right sides together. Then you'll sew across the shoulders with a serger or a zigzag stitch on your sewing machine. Now with the bodice inside out, we're going to match up the ends of the sleeves, the armpits, and the side seams. I like to nest my seams by pushing one forward and one backward. It makes them a bit flatter and easier to sew over. Now repeat this process for the other side. Now that our arms and side seams are clipped, we're going to sew from the end of the sleeve down to the bottom of the bodice with a serger or a zigzag stitch. Now your turtleneck should look something like this. Now we'll make the turtleneck cuff. You're going to fold it in half with the grain so that right sides are together. Then sew up along the long edge. Now turn the cuff you made in half and we'll attach that to the bodice. First we'll quarter it, so I like to put a clip at the seam, then one directly across from it, then 2 more exactly opposite of each other. Now we're going to do the same quartering with the bodice, starting at the center back. I'm just placing clips around the center back, the center front, and the sides to match up with our turtleneck cuff. Now that our turtleneck cuff and neckline are clipped, we are going to slip our turtleneck cuff inside the bodice so that right sides are together. Then match up the turtleneck seam to the center back of the bodice, and then match up the other clips as well. You will need to stretch your cuff as you are clipping along the neckline. Then you'll just sew around the neckline. Next, you'll want to find a yarn or darning needle and tuck the serger tail into it to secure it. Lastly, we need to hem the sleeves at a 1/2 inch in the bottom of the bodice with a 3/4 inch hem. So I just use my ruler to measure that out and put a few clips to hold it in place. Then I'll give it a good press and then hem it with my cover stitch. A couple things to help you get a nice hem that isn't wavy. When you press your hem, don't slide your iron. Lift it up and set it down so that you don't stretch the ribbing out. Also, when you're sewing, make sure you're not pulling the fabric or that gravity isn't pulling it down off your table. If you're using a cover stitch and getting some waviness, you may want to play around with your differential feed, but I suggest you try it out on some scraps first. Lastly, if you do end up with some waviness, give the whole thing a good steam or press and it will resolve itself a bit. And that's it, you're done. If you don't have a cover stitch for the hemming, you can also try a twin needle on your sewing machine.